Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Man on Football show on the LFC Daytrippers, or Football in the World, as most of you know it as, and it may end up being changed too. But I'm Gav. With me, I have Seany and I have Phil, and tonight we're going to talk about the Premier League, the greatest bits of the Premier League. We're going to look at goals, saves, chances that are missed, jerseys, mad moments, crazy stuff, whatever you can think of. But when we're talking about certain issues, or certain things, if you can try out bits in there, because if we're talking about goals and you're talking about mad moments, we'll miss them. So try that. Shawnee, I gave you some hard stuff to think of, didn't I?
Yeah, the kits is all right 'cause that's fairly subjective, but saves was a tough one
Yeah.
and misses as well. So I just referenced the first ones that came to my head, which probably meant they were the most significant. But goals, there's plenty that I remember, and I picked my favourite and kits and moments we'll get into. But yeah, it was a bit weird.
It was hard. I put them all together just so people come up with mad stuff, because they remember way more than we can, because we'll invariably end up talking about Brian Robson and Terry Venables, because that's how it works. But Phil, you've got another medal, and you look like
Another
you're
one.
dressed in
Boom.
you look like, honestly, when I seen you on screen first, I thought he's in a hospital gown and that was an intravenous
I
drip
am.
hanging above you. But it's not. It's just a t-shirt and you have a medal. What'd you get a medal for?
Not a medal. This is for running up a mountain and cycling around the mountain and kayaking around the lakes. So I'm
How
flying.
many kilometers this time?
It's 45 this time, and
35 the
the
last time.
target. Yeah, the target this time around was 3 hours and 40 minutes, and I did it in 3 hours and 9 minutes. So landed a bit quicker than I thought, and I finished was 71st overall and 21st in the over 40s category. So I'm happy out. Happy out. So next year we go up another 20 kilometers and see how we get on from there.
And I asked you earlier, when are you going to grow out of this, and you said, when I die on a mountain. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Okay.
I found one with a cross at the
And
weekend,
we
so
were
I think
trying to
we
work
must
out
go
who
for it.
was the fella that was in the Arctic, um, and he had all
Yeah,
his
if anyone
fingers
knows that
missing.
one.
What was his name, Shawnee? The explorer. He's still alive, like, he's the English fella. He's all
He
his
was on the late
stubby
late.
fingers. He was in Top Gear and everything, but I'm sure people will tell us what it is. But
Yeah,
maybe
an
Shawnee can't
adventurer.
remember.
If somebody can remember who an adventurer is.
It
Oh,
was.
now the thing you're talking about, he lost his fingers, his toes, the frostbite, didn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah. A couple of his
Yeah,
fingers,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, and he's just
Should
like
have just
going.
said,
He's really cool about it. Like, he's just like, yeah, I lost
yeah,
that one and that
should
one,
have
and
just
like,
stayed at home,
There's
had a Snickers, and stopped being a busy cunt.
yeah. Should have just got a couple of people gets out of the
Yeah, all
Circle
right,
K and
yeah,
went home.
settle down, have a cup of tea there and relax there, John. Nobody gives a bollocks about you going up onto these mountains. Fair play to you. Fucking it. Look, your man David Goggins, you ever see him? Yeah, just relax and have a Mars bar there, will you, mate? Relax for a minute and sit down. Fucking hell. Ranulph Fiennes, that him there.
That's him. Ranulph
Um,
Fiennes, you busy cunt.
Jeremy
Yeah,
Beadle.
give a fucking over, man, will you?
Oh my
It's like,
god.
do you know what I feel? Uh, Fair play to you. Fucking, it's as much as a mental exercise as it is a physical exercise. Those marathons and all.
Yeah,
But do you know, there's fucking two types of people in the world. There's people who admit they don't like running, and then there's the cunts who lie about liking running. That nobody enjoys running. You feel good after it. You feel shy during it. You feel shy before it. Only after, there's nothing enjoyable about running at all. Honestly, I'd rather watch me dad get out of bat. These are all fucking liars.
Jeremy Beadle. That's really got me. Jeremy Beadle. I've tried to hold it together here, but I couldn't. But anyway, the Premier League. Well done, Phil. Right, and listen, the next
cheers,
time you
bud.
do it, remember when you're running up that hill, all you hear is Shawnee's voice in your head going, "Just sit down and have a Mars bar, will you?" There, no one gives a bollocks. Um,
Once I know how Rita Ora murdering a Kate Bush song, I'll be grand. I get up and down the hill, no problem at all.
yeah. Mind you, if they were behind you in a van with that playing through a speaker, you'd finish
I'd be
fucking top
around,
three. You'd be flying to get
not a
away
bother.
now. But anyway, Premier League, greatest bits of the Premier League over the last 30 years. Uh, Mohammed says this sick guy wants to watch his dad get out of the bat. That comment's come up a few times on these shows over the last while, and it's great when you want to basically tell someone you definitely don't want to do something. But I'm going to start with jerseys, right? Because when I threw it at you earlier, I said these good jerseys, and you might go with one of the nicest ones you've seen, one of the horrendous ones you've seen. You know, the famous one where United played at Southampton and claimed they couldn't see each other, and changed at half time and stuff. But really nice jerseys, horrible jerseys, wherever it might be. If you're in the chat, you can throw them at us as well, and we'll list a few, and we might remember a few as we go. But Phil, nice, wacky, horrible jerseys.
So this is from the start. So this is from 1992 onwards, yeah?
Correct.
Right. I think it's going to be very hard to beat. If we're going to go to the nicest jersey, it's going to be very, very hard to beat. And it wins all the competitions. But that Newcastle jersey that has the Newcastle brown ale, that was an Adidas one that had the buttons up it, and it was black and white, and it takes probably 97, 98, somewhere around that time. That was like jersey perfection. They just nailed that.
95-ish, in around that. I think it's about 95. It has the
in around that.
It has the skyline of Newcastle into the logo.
Yeah,
and stuff.
It was literally that was football perfection at that stage in terms of.
They had a nice away one as well. It was like a navy and colour wine.
Navy and wine one to go. But the black and white was just. It's a bit like, because when I think of Liverpool jerseys, I think the recent ones have actually all been really, really good. But the one that'll always stick in your mind is when we won the league, because it takes you back to '84 and the pinstripe going through. And that again, that to me is in my head is a perfect Liverpool jersey, because you look at it and you immediately think successful Liverpool teams. You don't think shit Liverpool teams. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what that always brings me to. But in terms of favourite jerseys, like I'm a bit of a sucker. My favourite Premiership jersey is probably like I like really shit ones. And do you remember there was a Chelsea one that was grey and had like orange and blue stripes at the very top of it, right?
Cores written on it.
That was, it was just bizarre looking, and it sort of took me around that time. And then there's been like some really bad kits. When you think of, remember Nottingham Forest had that yellow thing with sort of like a splurge on the shoulder, like a navy splurge on the shoulder. It was like yellow. It had a big, huge collar on it. It was Umbro and had Labatt's on the front of it, right? Then there was that Spurs jersey from last year, which was Harchester United with puke on the shoulder. Like that's immense. And then of course there's the legendary Warrior kit that we had, which was purple and white. You think of Suarez, 14. But that does make you think of Suarez. Yeah.
Had
odd socks.
Yeah.
Had tribal tattoos that the invented Warrior did for absolutely no reason.
We come not to play. Remember, that was the debate of we come not to play.
He said it was inspired by probably one of our best ever jerseys, which was around the same time as the Newcastle, which was the green and white 4 squares. Do you remember those ones from the?
Yeah, well, that's the nicest Liverpool away jersey of all time. That's 95, 96.
And Warrior were inspired by that one. So that to me was an instant classic in terms of
Liverpool's 95, 96.
The 93, what was the Liverpool, like looking back on the old ones, I actually seen a couple of people wearing it last night. There was the one Collymore scored the goal again. Yeah, that was gorgeous with that collar.
Yeah,
really
the rugby
collar. The joint collar.
The rugby collar.
Yeah, I thought that was lovely. With the big cuffs on the sleeves as well.
That was deadly material as well.
That was Reebok, was it? Or was that Adidas?
No, Adidas. That was
Adidas. That was
Adidas. It was the same season as I think it was the same season as the green and white square one. The green and white square one had the buttons, 3 straight buttons up like the Newcastle stuff. But that one there, Shawnee. What?
I go like I was thinking today when I was thinking, but just going back to what Phil there said about the jersey Liverpool won the league in. I think the goalkeeper kit we had that year, the black and gold one, is the greatest Premier League kit of all time. Goalkeeper hands down anyway, because like I don't know what it is about, and Phil will probably be tested this because Phil fucking loves goalkeepers. A goalkeeper all in black, and when it's Alisson Becker as well, it's just times 10 in it. And I thought it was fucking unbelievable. And you can tie so many memories to that kit as well. The celebration against United and obviously winning the league in that one. And there's just something about, it's like watching a player in all white. The goalkeeper in all black has the same kind of effect to me. It made him look much bigger. He was an absolute monster that year. He's been a monster ever since, to be honest. But that goalkeeper kit, that black and gold, it sounds like recency, boys, but it's definitely the nicest goalkeeper kit in the Premier League.
Well, the goalkeeper kits are kind of making a comeback because in the early 90s, when Adidas again were making them. Do you remember they used to make them? They made mad ones for Liverpool and Newcastle at the time, and it was like fucking all sorts of shapes all over them. And David James, I always have visions of David James in them, and that whole thing about people wanting goalkeeper jerseys has kind of come back over the last 3 or 4 years. And they were mental in the early 90s. Like the goalkeeper stuff was mad. Like, do you know what I mean? But some of them like the Liverpool away one, 08-09, just for Torres destroying Vidic. But I really like the square one. I actually like the red candy with the 3 stripes on the 3 Adidas stripes on the shoulder. I liked it. I love the green one.
You tie jerseys to memories.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But for me, then we're gonna go on because this isn't the reason why I went a bit different. The Liverpool one, I picked the Liverpool one, but for me, the nicest kit in the Premier League ever, and it was just because of what I associated with growing up. Was I said it to you, Gav, the 02 to 04 Arsenal one,
02,
with the 02 sponsorship in the middle, the white shorts, the white socks, Thierry Henry in it. He was like a fucking fighter jet going around in that jersey with the silver mercurial boots. And that silhouette of jersey also was the same as the one that Brazil won the 2002 World Cup in. So people think that Nike and Adidas now have just been templating kits for the last... They've been doing this for as long as time.
Donkey's years, yeah.
Yeah, they just do it. I'd imagine it's something got to do with production and mass production and cost and stuff like that. But that Arsenal kit, I don't know whether they didn't go invincible in that one, did they? It was a one after that, I think.
No, the invincible kit wasn't that maroon. It was
like,
no,
that was the one after.
No, that was the year after when they were leaving Highbury.
Yeah,
they changed to a matte maroon.
That for some bizarre reason, and look, there's been some great Arsenal kits. I can think of the JVC one that stands out in memory. You know, the
they
proper
used to have a gorgeous one. Do you remember?
And...
No, but do you remember in the 90s they had a gorgeous one Arsenal. Now you get onto it, and it was like a navy with kind of a lighter blue on it. You know, those kind of fucking like lightning going down it. I have visions of Ian Wright playing it. I'll try to get a copy of it now in a minute, but it was navy, JVC, and I had kind of fork lightning going, like, you know, the lightning going down it. It was beautiful. Arsenal's jersey, early 90s, lovely. Wow.
I'm just thinking what was the one Titi Camera scored loads of goals for us in against Arsenal?
Oh.
That was a Reebok kit. It wasn't the green one, because that was the Paddy Berger.
Yeah, no, it was the same one, I think.
Hangers. Is that the same one? Is it?
Yeah, the Reebok with the Reebok in the middle, green and kind of navy on it. I'm nearly sure.
And were Arsenal wearing 02 at that stage, really, or were they still in Sega?
They probably would have been in their Sega time at that time, yeah, late.
Yeah,
90s.
I just have this sort of, they've gone with a real weird sleeve where it was like a V coming into the sleeve, and it would stop being the sort of sleeve up to the neck on the Ajax style, at this V sort of shape going into the white sleeves. And never made me so happy to see Titi Camera score banging a load of goals in Arsenal, whatever ground they're playing in at that stage. That was fantastic.
Southampton used
can I give some?
Southampton
did.
They used to have yellow with like a fucking
kits.
Blue fucking like point going down into their chest, and Draper's Tools or Sanderson or something like that. They used to have horrendous stuff. Southampton used to come out with.
Yeah,
but you're talking about, like,
they had Dreamcast on one jersey and Sega on the air. Remember that?
Dreamcast, yeah. Maddest, yeah, that's a good show.
But if we're talking about iconic kits, right? Surely Blackburn Rovers must be up there.
McEwen's Lager, 94, 95.
Yeah, 94 to 96. Because remember, they used to wear kits for 2 years back then, right? And like, whenever you think of the Premier League, early Premier League, Blackburn Rovers are dominating at that stage, and that's what sits there. That's always sits in my mind. And I hate saying it, but that United kit that with the laces, you know, the laces that they had at the top.
That's one of the first Premier League. Yellow and red. The yellow and... Oh no, they had her in red and they had her in a green and yellow. That's like, I think it might be the fourth season of the Premier League. You couldn't have liked that, Phil.
Like, no, I'm talking about the red and white one with the laces in the neck. They had red, and I keep thinking of Brian McClare. No, you're saying I'm trying to balance up.
It was like what they done was, I think they released them both at the same time to mark some maybe fucking 120 years old or something, or whatever it was.
Well, they released the green and
it was red with sharp
they released
on
the
it.
green and gold one.
Yeah, it was the same
Did
season.
they release the green and gold? Yeah, to get the Glazers out.
No. This was miles before the Glazers. They probably re-released it, but it was red, and then there was a green and yellow halves, and it was that fucking laced up to like a V collar. It was fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
Antio says Chelsea 12-13 had a belt of a home kit, as much as it pains me to say.
That's
Dan
the blue
Austin
one
loved
with
the
the silver
80s Danish
stripe.
stuff. He just loved the 80s Danish gear.
Was it the last? No, it wasn't. We won it. That New Balance kit. What year did we sign Van Dijk?
17.
The 17-18 Liverpool jersey was
But
quality.
that had a
When
similar
they went
collar,
back-
didn't it?
Yeah,
the
when
one
you
you were
went
talking
back,
about from earlier.
we went back to the dark red and with the white collar.
Yeah,
That
the white kind
should
of
be the
V.
template. That should be the template of every Liverpool kit. I was over there yesterday, and I have to say, the 3 kits this year are fucking rubbish.
Yeah, a lot of people like that new one, the new third one. But
Nah, they're brutal. They're all brutal. They're shy. They're gack. There's no imagination in them at all.
So,
the funny thing is,
so-
they're better off staying away from imagination. They should just come out and go, listen, we're playing in red, we're playing in fucking yellow.
They should
I
do
like
what
that dark red.
Dortmund do. Should do what Dortmund do. Dortmund do like a yoke where the fans design the kits and then pick the kit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then again, Nike are probably paying some spa millions to fucking come up with this. So,
well,
any
come
more
here,
jerseys
I have to
before we
say-
move on?
Yeah, two shouts, right?
Yeah.
So, and I hate doing it as a Liverpool one, but you remember, like, I'm gonna say it because it's my own personal favorite, but I don't think you're ever gonna beat the orange kit. It was just random, but it was perfect. It was like
Oh, the orange Liverpool one.
the orange Liverpool kit. I just keep it thinking of Genie Wijnaldum. We had Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Ruud van Nistelrooy wasn't playing for us.
Yeah, we had Ruud van Nistelrooy and we had Virgil van Dijk. They're all the Van lads playing. But my God, every time I think of it, I just think of that orange kit. I only have good memories of that orange kit. I don't have a single bad
17,
memory of that
18,
orange
wasn't
kit,
it?
right? Oh, it was spectacular. I want to
Yeah.
give a big shout out to the orange kit. Well done to the orange kit. Bring it back.
How much your second one?
And then second one, two random shouts coming in because they're joint, because I don't know whether they're great or shite. So you have the Norwich board shit kit. Do you remember the Norwich kit that was yellow but was like covered in green and white board shit?
Yeah, that was that first one in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, it seems like everyone in the Premier League, because they've been looked the same ever since, right? But like that just sticks out. I think
Chris
they scored the
Sutton,
last
Will
goal at the
Fox.
top. Yeah, Fleck, Robert
Yeah.
Fleck.
Yeah, Jeremy
Right.
Goss.
And then to go alongside it is, do you remember Wolves, was it last year or the year before last, they had where they basically didn't know what kit they wanted, so they stuck two kits together. So the body of the jersey was this blue and white thing.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
the top of the jersey was the white sleeves with a collar, with
Yeah,
navy
that's
collar
right.
and navy
And when they
stripes.
came out, people were like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on here? But it was like
Yeah,
that. It
it's
was
like-
like, listen, we've a load of material over here, and we've a load of material
Yeah.
over here. Surely we can do something with it. And he just went,
Yeah.
that's the jersey. But the funny thing is, like,
Stick
the
it
amount of
together.
shite that's thrown out and people go, oh, yeah, it's lovely and on. You're like, it's not lovely. It's fucking horrendous. Do you know what I mean? But listen, any more,
So, yeah,
Johnny,
that's
before we
my
go?
shouts.
Good shouts. Any more before we go, Johnny?
No, that was two to stand out on me. That
Okay.
was two to stand out.
Right. Missed chances or bad misses or whatever you want to be. Ronnie Rosenthal is up there for Liverpool away at Villa Park without a shadow of a doubt. I want to throw in Steve Stone, but I think it's in the FA Cup for Portsmouth away at Reading before Reading moved into the Maddest Stadium, and he's clean through, hits the bar. Don't know how the fuck he does it. But bad misses in the Premier League. Shawnee, have you thought of any?
Yeah, like I said, the misses one, like a few pop out, but there was just one I remember because it was bittersweet because it was against United and it was Fernando Torres.
Oh,
But he was
yeah.
playing for Chelsea. He takes like the most. We know the way Torres was when he went to United. He was just completely
Chelsea.
shot of confidence. Yeah, he was shy. He was shy for the 6 months before he left Liverpool, but he was completely just drained of confidence, you could see. And he takes the best, worst force touch ever. He gets played through and he takes an accidental bad force touch and he ends up rounding the keeper and then falls over himself trying to play it into an empty net and hits the side netting. And you just see him laughing because he was just like, it's just not fucking happening for me here. So that's one that stood out to me as a bad miss and I took a little bit of glean, but at the same time I was thinking, you couldn't even score that, you shite bag.
Brian Murphy says Joe Allen away at Everton cost us a league title. I can't actually remember that.
Oh, for
I do.
fuck's sake.
He went clear through. Do you remember he went clear through just the goalkeeper to be, and it went fractions wide.
I'm struggling to picture it in my mind.
But no, a ball bounces back and he puts it wide. Remember, and I thought Luis Suarez was going to strangle him to death.
Somebody said Kanu had one. Yus says Kanu had one from a yard. That's right. The ball was flashed across the Kanu and he managed to scoop it over the bar from a yard. Phil.
Well, Laszlo Panaflex robbed my joke because when you said I was just bad misses, I was going to say Rebecca Vardy, but I won't try.
Nice.
Because it's a nice pun. Yeah, look, mine stands out, and when I say it, I think everyone remember it. People may or not agree, but for me, Victor Moses against Crystal Palace.
Oh yeah,
he's 2 yards out of goal. Every time I watch the replay, I still like everything else that goes on. He scores that. There was only like a minute left. We win 4-3, and it goes right the way down to the last day of the season. If you're losing goal differences, hang your hand. You say, look, you've done absolutely everything. But at least we never get to answer the question of City having that pressure where, you know, where they weren't in front, where they had to win. They didn't. They only had to go out and draw on the last day to win the league, which was really frustrating. The ball drops to Victor Moses. The goal was empty. There was nobody in front of him. Like every time when they show that picture and he's just standing there with the goal empty and all he has to do is roll it in, and he doesn't. And I still look at it over and over again, and it still hurts me, and it really, really hurts me because Moses actually had a decent season for us that year to take away from. But that to me is just a horrific miss. There's loads. There's loads of misses, but a miss for me, there's a personal level on the miss part, right? And that one really gets to me. That one, because like even when you go back to Rafa's 2008-2009 season, it was like misses don't really do it. Like we drew games in December that kill us ultimately at the end of the season, right? But United were scoring goals in the 98th and the 99th minute and the 127th minute of games that went on, right? That went on and on and on. So it wasn't so much that we dropped points; it was more a case that they kept winning points when they shouldn't have won the points. I always think of your man McKay to score 2 goals ever in his whole career, and both of them against Villa the day we should have gone top and we didn't. And then, yeah, it's just but that Victor Moses of all the ones that stand out, even the years we finished second to City since then, and you think about how close it was last year and the year before that, or when we ran them right the way to the last day of the season. Nothing jumps out to me as those last 2 games, the Chelsea game and then the follow-up is the Palace game. And that Victor Moses miss just sort of caps that season and that run of 180 minutes in a nutshell.
Well, Sterling, someone says there has to be up there just for volume alone because he has missed some sitters, Sterling, in fairness to him. You know what I mean? Like the Victor Moses one, like, yeah, the Joe Allen one, listen, I remember not winning the game, but I just can't, in my mind, I just can't get it in. Robbie Keane had a bad one when he was at West Ham against Blackburn. People are turning to drink.
Robbie Keane was with West Ham?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Robbie Keane played for West Ham at one stage, yeah. Went on loan or fucking signed a short-term deal with them. Origi at home against Burnley in the COVID season, threw 1-on-1 and hit the bar.
It wasn't that bad. Like,
listen,
wasn't an open goal.
It wasn't an open goal. But do you know what? I don't think you see them as much now as you used to, because there's a Twitter account going around. It's a play on Brian Gunn's name. Who used to be a goalkeeper at Norwich, and it's like I don't know how this fella's finding him, but he's like today he was like literally back at the net, and it's just fellas running into the net, you know, trying to stop goals, and he puts up all these compilations of own goals and stuff. But some of the misses, Jesus Christ, I've seen on that Twitter account is unbelievable. Ronnie Rosenthal's miss is the worst I've ever seen. Like the whole Villa Park stops to wait for him to roll it in, and he manages to hit the bar. It's just fucking incredible. Ronaldo missed an open goal from 2 yards once. Can't remember who it was against. It Jonathan. Laszlo says Robbie Keane played for everyone. Yeah. And Just says Robbie Keane played for 137 teams, all were his boyhood club. Let me see. 2011 at West Ham on loan for Robbie Keane. I just don't think they're around as much as they used to be. The bad misses. You know, players just score fucking goals now. Do you know what I mean? And I'm
There is a few though.
Go on then. I had one in my head and I just can't think of it now. I literally had it there and then it was gone.
Torres, when he goes to Chelsea, has a series of, going back to Shawnee's bit. It wasn't just the Man United one, but like I remember watching Torres, and he could almost guarantee to miss an almost surefire sitter a load of times. I think the ones where they make contact with the ball and completely miss the target is gas. One of the funniest remains what should be in our best goals ever, but it wasn't. Do you remember Suarez?
That's what I had. Suarez's goal against, well, not his goal, but the volley against Arsenal.
You still call it a goal? It wasn't a goal. Yeah,
I consider it a goal. It would have been the best goal you've ever seen. But I know what you're going to say now. Go on.
But Colo's miss.
Yeah, when it comes out. Yeah.
It's sensational. Yeah. And I can enjoy this one because it doesn't cost the result, but it literally is an open goal again.
When you look back at it, right, his body angle looks like he actually grabs his own leg and like with his hands and swings his leg at it to try put it in the net. He doesn't kick it. The body angle looks like he's just grabbed the top of his own leg and went, "Oh, fucking get in the goal," and puts it wide. But loads of people forget about it because they're just all going, imagine that went in. Because Suarez just peels away from 30 yards from goal, McCarron and just goes here, just stick it there and I'll absolutely bash this in.
Suarez, like, his body looks like Roy the Rovers on the bar. Yeah. Like, the way Roy the Rovers volleys the ball, like, everything is just straight. It's ridiculous. He was fucking magnificent that season. It's the best goal that was. It's like the one where Pele lets a run through his legs and dummies the keeper and then misses the
goes around the keeper.
Goal that never went in, sort of thing. But I remember that one.
Owen Burke is going through some sort of depression because he said I was at the last game we lost in the 08 season away at Borough. Lost 2-0. Elzar started up front and Skertel was right back. Some fucking disaster that was. Let me see.
I seen one absolute belter of a miss, right? That people just, and I was, because I remember Steve getting really, 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 really angry about this one. But we're in the Cup watching Liverpool against Stoke, and Joe Cole comes in, and he managed to take a shot and clear the Cup from 8 yards out, right? Now, the ball came across just outside the 6 yard box. He took a touch and managed to get so far up and under it cleared the Cup. People won't remember it, but I was there just because when you're there and you see something that bad from a fella something was expected.
It's burned into your memory forever.
I just remember Steve not being impressed and roaring some level
when Steve
of
gets
abuse.
upset, he gets really upset, doesn't he?
We played the Stefan back there in the chat. Absolute brain scientist. You weren't born when Pele did that, and no shit, Sherlock. It was in fucking black and white.
It was in the 1970 World Cup.
Yeah, right. Good shout, Chief.
Well done.
Only Trev was born.
Trev was doing his leaving cert that year. But look, we got off misses. We've done jerseys, right?
Right.
Saves. The best saves you've seen in the Premier League. Now, Phil, you asked me earlier, could you have the FA Cup? I said yes.
Because I'm not having any other save. Yeah, and I'll stand over it. Yeah, it's the greatest save I've seen in England in 40 years. And when I go back and watch it, right, you see all these fantastic, and there's so many fantastic saves that I'm happy to talk about, right? But every time I go back to that one save by Seaman, it's, to this day, it's absolutely outrageous. And the other bit that people forget about is that I think he was 40 the day after the match. So it wasn't like that. This is a fella in the
It's an FA Cup semi-final at Old Trafford against Sheffield United. It's Paul Pesky-Salido who should score.
Yeah,
and I want.
It's a double change. It's a double change directions the ball comes over.
It's Neil Warnock. So is it FA Cup around
2003?
Yeah, somewhere around
2003.
Because I think he ends up going to Man City soon afterwards, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Seaman. Yeah, but it is a great save.
It's outrageous, and there's so many elements of the save that makes it outrageous, right? So there's a double change of movement of the ball. So the ball comes across, it hits one Sheffield United player, and then it pops up, and Pesky-Salido gets his head in it. But Seaman's already moved his body to a different position, expecting the ball to go a certain way, and then deflects back the other way. And it's pure reaction. And that's good enough in terms of getting your reaction saved, but it's behind him. So he gets back behind it. And then the strength of his hand alone, because when you watch it back, it's only
gets it clear of the goal.
Pure fingertips, but pure fingertips that he gets up high and away from the goal and away from Pescasolo, because Pescasolo is still standing there. If he gets a really weak hand in it, it's going to drop in front of him and he's just going to have an empty ball. It's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. There's so many people are going to mention finger touch saves, headers onto bars and stuff like that. I can think of Czech making an absolute wonder save from Robin van Persie against United in one of the games that he played against. I can think, like, you can go through a list of Schmeichel saves. Schmeichel invented types of saves in the Premier League which were outrageous, but this one has probably every asset of goalkeeping that you train and coach, and then it's still spectacular looking. It's everything. When people...
Jonathan reckons it's overrated, in his opinion. Pescasolo puts it back into Seaman's direction.
If your direction is going backwards and away from you, then yeah, he definitely puts it back into Seaman's direction. Like, he basically puts the ball, bounces up, he heads it in front of himself, and Seaman manages to do it. I'm not having it. Go back and watch it, because there's all these fingertip ones that you see over the bar where fellas get to set themselves as the shot gets hit and are able to track the ball that's coming in. They're fantastic looking. I can think of David James was the master of these little tippies over the bar and tips onto the crossbar, and incredible looking saves. But this has so much technique in it. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. And I will say, I know we're going to get into a few more, but somebody mentioned Alisson's save against not Birmingham, against Burnley, right? It's a double save and then a catch, and then it result. He gets an assist from the goal off the back end of it, and the fourth save is impressive because he pulls that one out of the top corner. Then he follows up with the rebound, which he then punches. Remember, he punches out over the player. It drops. He then comes and claims the cross, and he spins a throw out to Salah, who goes down the other end of the pitch and scores a goal. It's phenomenal. That is, in terms of a series of saves. Honestly, I could wax lyrical. I can think of Edwin van der Sar's treble save against Chelsea. De Gea, I hate him. Remember he's
made some serious saves. Didn't he make one against
the save
Coutinho?
He made? A full stretch with his left foot.
No, there was one against
De Gea is my one. De Gea is my one. I don't know whether you remember it. It's at Stamford Bridge. Mata has a free kick, and Mata hits the free kick with like the most perfect technique you can remember, and it's right going right in the top corner, and De Gea pulls it straight. It's in the last minute as well, so it was like a real clutch save, and that's when it was United and Chelsea both going for the league at the time. It's one of the best saves I've ever, and it was the first thing that came to memory because I remember watching the game live. I was walking in the Aviva Stadium at the time, and I was walking home, and the Chop House on the corner there. Anyone who's familiar with the area, you had the game on in there, and Mata's a lovely technique the way he hits the ball, and he whips it, but he whips with a pace, and it's going away from the goalkeeper the whole time. It's right in the top corner. You should YouTube it, and it's outrageous. And I don't like De Gea is one of the greatest Premier League goalkeepers, of shot stoppers anyway, of all time. It gets kind of skewed now because of the last couple of seasons he's had, but he was fucking ridiculous for United at one stage, and that
shot
was
stopping,
it was right at the height of his power. It was absolutely unbelievable. It was the first thing that came to my mind.
He stops one from, I'm nearly sure it's Coutinho at Anfield at the Kop end.
Yeah, nil-all
draw. Yeah, and Coutinho hits one, and you're like, that. There's no way that's not going in. And he gets across. I think he actually gets across with his wrong hand, and gets it out. But it was it's right in the, as Coutinho's looking, it's in the top right hand corner. I don't know how he gets his hand to it. Shay Given makes one for Newcastle away at, I want to say Sunderland, where this thing is like a fucking... No, I think it's Sunderland, where it's one of those northeast... I'm nearly sure it was a northeast derby. Someone hits... I think it might be Kevin Phillips actually hits this. And this thing is like... This thing is arrowing at the top corner. It's actually right in the fucking top corner. He's absolutely melted this thing when he's hit it. And Given gets across, and he's like, I don't know how far off the fucking ground he is. And the hand comes out, and he gets that touch. And I'm not talking about just tippy over the bar. This was just like a fucking ridiculous save. I'm sure if you YouTube Shay Given save, I'm nearly sure it's Sunderland. Unbelievable. What do you make of the one Czech makes against Andy Carroll in this Cup semi-final for Liverpool Chelsea?
He doesn't. The ball goes over the line.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
It fucking did. The ball was a mile over the line.
It would have been given under modern technology where it can
The
track
ball's
the
a
ball.
mile
being
over the line. So
No, I
it doesn't
don't think.
save
I
it.
think. I think they came back and said that wasn't over the line.
Gav, it's a mile over.
What-
You can see the whole
what
ball
about-
in the back of the net.
Well, if you're gonna go that
Are you
route,
seeing
what
the
about
same one as
what
me?
about
Yeah,
Hang
in
on,
the
Gav.
final.
The header, yeah.
Yeah,
What
it's
about
a
Roy
fucking
Carroll's
mile over
save?
the line, man.
No, I don't think it is. Roy Carroll.
fucking is, I'm telling you.
Roy Carroll's one against
remember the
Pedro.
remember the Roy
What was his
Carroll
name?
save? Where,
What was his name? Your man.
oh,
He played for fucking
Pedro Mendes.
Pedro Mendes, yeah.
yeah. And the ball bounced over the line, and he pulled it back. And because the linesmen were so far away from the ball cross, like that this shows you now. We moan how far
He
and
caught
everything
it.
that goes on.
He actually caught it and then dropped it in the goal. And then just jumped in the
Bounced
goal,
out
scooped it
behind
out.
the line,
And as he
scooped
scoops
out.
it, his hand is hitting the net as he's scooping it back out. And the linesman's about 40 yards down the road. Owen Bourke's a great one.
Yeah.
We beat Newcastle 5 or 6-0 at St James's one season, and Given got man of the match. That was 08-09. We bashed them until I think Gerrard opens the scoring off the post. Hippier gets a header soon after, makes it 2, I think, and Liverpool go on and destroy them. But you're right, Shea Given made some ridiculous saves. Ridiculous.
We haven't
saves.
mentioned Schmeichel. We haven't some of the saves. If you go back and watch some of the saves he makes, his ability, and this is where great goalkeeper stand ups.
Nigel Martin, you
doesn't
mentioned earlier as well, though. He was a great shot stopper.
There's one save, and I couldn't remember. I would have loved to remind people of it. And all I can remember is the save in my head, but I can't remember whether he was playing for Leeds or whether he was playing for Everton at the time. But he dives full stretch across the goal. Now it was a near post shot, and he makes the save, but he's about to collide with the post. And I just remember they showed a shot from sort of across the goal line, and you can see him moving his head around the post as he goes past the post. It's outrageous. It was a near post. It was Nigel Martin made some of the most amazing saves I've seen from a goalkeeper. And now when I'm talking about pure athletic dives left and right, and Neville Southall was very similar to that, but that's before the Premier League starts. So we're keeping to the Premier League that's there. But yeah, like you think of Schmeichel, he has that. When a goalkeeper has a trademark save, that says it everything. Remember, nobody had ever seen, we're so used to it now, but no one had ever seen the starfish until Schmeichel turns up in the Premiership. No one had ever seen it.
But he was so aggressive
Right?
with it. He used to come out, spread himself, but dive at you. Like he didn't stand there and just spread. He just dived at people. Like he literally lined his bollocks up with the ball and went, "That's it. I'm going straight at it." And people didn't know what to be fucking doing. He makes a brilliant one at St James's Park, doesn't he? In that game where they win 1-0 and the end it kind of turns the season on his head and they win the league. But
He does. He does a similar save to Gordon Banks. Remember the header down, and he got right down to it and knocked it up over the crossbar. Yeah, and then he's also got that one, as somebody's mentioned there. He has that one that we've all seen in the pictures, where he's basically like this, and he's looking at the ball as he's catching it one-handed and holds onto the ball midair. Like he was. If people like,
Friedel is a show.
really
Friedel made some serious saves in the Premier League. A disaster at Liverpool, but he made some fucking serious saves in the Premier League.
So was David James. David James made some of the most outrageous saves you'll ever see in terms of full-on stretch across goals with the spread that he had. He was a massive human being.
But he was just so fucking. His head was up his hole. Like it was just so.
But when he was at Portsmouth, he had that run at Portsmouth where he was outrageous.
Yeah,
with Harry Redknapp.
Yeah.
He was phenomenal, making outrageous stops.
The thing with David James was, if he was having an okay game, he was okay. If he was having a really good game, you're worried because you went way too much confidence here. The ball is literally going to be dropped on the D at the edge of the box, and you're going to find him out there trying to catch it. You know what I mean? I think he takes over from Grobbelaar at Liverpool, and I think that kind of Grobbelaar has an effect on him, because Grobbelaar used to do that. Grobbelaar used to go out and claim all sorts, and you've heard like Liverpool defenders from that era saying Bruce will come at everything. And the minute you seen him coming, we all retreated towards the line in case something happened. I think that happened James, but when he made a howler, he made a fucking howler. Like, you know what I mean? It was unbelievable. Bosnich at Villa was brilliant. His own book, yeah, he was. He made some serious saves as well. Just on Alisson though, do you remember the one that was a Palace where your man back heels of him about 2 yards away, and he gets down to it? I think it was you talking about it, Sean. You loved that one. Was it at Palace? The ball drops.
Back heel. It's point
back
blank.
heel, and I don't know how the fuck he gets down on the ground that quick.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I'd say Alisson has a whole catalogue, but he just makes them all look easy, so they're not as memorable because Alisson has made the extraordinary look really ordinary because he's just that good. You never see him. He makes a ridiculous save last year at Spurs from Dele Alli. It's fucking brilliant. Oh, Alisson's the best keeper we've ever had. I think we can all agree on that.
By a long shot. Going back to your point, Shawnee, the best goalkeeper in the world before Alisson was Manuel Neuer. And what does he do? Everything just looks easy, right? He's very rarely having to fully extend himself. Think of Schmeichel. Very rarely had to fully extend himself. Able to do it. Don't get me wrong. Completely able to do it. And that's where so many miss on the whole idea of and the whole piece around David Seaman as well. David Seaman is the last great English goalkeeper. And what was the common piece that you look at him? So much of the stuff just looks routine. Even when you go back and look at his best saves and you go, that just looks like a good save. And then you look at where the shot was coming from and the angle he's covering off and how he's touching the ball around the post. And it's just, there's no airs and graces about it. It's just like Buffon is the same. It's just, that's my job. I've done my job and that's it. I get up and carry on with the game. It's this levelness that they have with the way they play. They never get too up that way, never get too down that way. And they just perform. Honestly, I just think it's, the standard of goalkeeping we have now is just far, far above. Like if you think about it, I remember there was people talking about Gordon Banks' save when Mignolet managed to run across the goal and stop a shot with his knees against Stoke one year in Anfield, and they were talking about it was the most amazing save they've ever seen. And I went back and looked today, and I still look at it and go, well, he doesn't even know much about it. It hits his knees as he's making the save. It wasn't making it with his hands and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So these fellas are phenomenons, and looking at their highlights. Do you know who was a great man for saves, actually? UC Jaskalainen. We haven't talked about him, right? He was at UC Jaskalainen. Now, he didn't like coming off his line ever, but he was very good at being able to cover the goal from his line, and he was smashing at making really good looking saves in the Premier League. So he's in there. But yeah, I'd still go.
I don't mind goalkeepers making good saves and they're athletic and their stuff. But they're like some of them now, like Harry Ramsden at Arsenal, just does my fucking head in.
When you say that though, he made one of the best saves I've seen last year.
Oh, we were standing in the pub together. We were standing.
It's actually it's similar to that. Similar to that Schmeichel one, to the Seaman one. The ball clips the wall from a free kick and changes direction, and he kind of amalgamates his body to kind of get the ball out of danger as well as saving it. Because I think that's like any time I talk to me about that Keith, he marks a save on where the ball ends up. Is it in or out of danger? That's the difference between a really good save and an exceptional save.
Listen, there's no doubt he's made good saves, but what I'm saying is, when you talk about Alisson making the ridiculous look easy, your man Ramsdale, wherever we call him, it's just, it's over there. Jump for it and catch it if you want, but it's like fucking, he's throwing himself, doing a one-handed roll in the wave, mate. It's like fucking hell. You know what I mean? Roy Murphy says Kelleher is the incarnation.
Listen, you've got Joe Hart to blame for all this, right? Every goalkeeper that's come since Joe Hart has just been Joe Hart. So Pickford is Joe Hart. Joe Hart is Joe Hart. Your man Harry Ramsden is Joe Hart, right? The only one that looks a bit different is Nick Pope, but I'm not sure Nick Pope is able to come off his line. So there's a big question mark off that one.
Yeah, not the best with his feet, apparently, playing ball and stuff, but a really good goalkeeper. Jay says the Coventry keeper back in the 90s, can't think of his name, Steve Ogrizovic, I presume you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think he's the only goalkeeper that ever played for Coventry in the 90s, to be honest with you. David James, underrated top saves versus Arteta, Portsmouth v Everton. Casillas was brilliant at saving shots with his feet, his own book. Ramsdale is Pickford with longer arms, says Laura Duffy. Best goal you've ever seen in the Premier League. We 15 minutes left. Best goal you've ever seen in the Premier League. Shawnee.
Best goal, best player. Probably the best rivalry, I reckon. The best era of the Premier League for me. It's Henry's Highbury against United. The flick and the volley. It's fucking poetry. Pure poetry. When you think about goals that mean something. Think about we like Haaland doing that. We like Salah. The goal Salah scored last year is in similar vein, because you think about what it didn't really mean on the title race in the end, but it's those big games and those big moments. And Salah's goal will probably be remembered as fondly in a few years, but that Henry, the flick and the volley, all in one movement, doesn't even smash her hard, just hits the ball right. Barthez is looking at the ball going over his head. It's just pure poetry, and for me, say whatever you want about name anyone else, Thierry Henry is the best player that's ever played in the Premier League, in my opinion. He was fucking mercurial. It's like, just you see that one person who was above and beyond all else. He was like an alien when he got the ball, and he done some mental stuff, scored some mental goals. But for me, that one stands out. Arsenal have a few. There's obviously the Canio one as well, but Henry, I'm sure, has a few Perez, but that one sticks out for me.
It's a great goal. There's a few in here though. Just says the Canios is the best goal. That's West Ham against Wimbledon, I think.
That's ridiculous as well.
Yeah, the scissor kick as it comes down. Kieran says Firmino versus City in 18-19. I presume that you mean the big passing movement from Liverpool at the Etihad. Bergkamp against Newcastle. Shearer volley against Everton. This is Brian Murphy. Gerrard versus Middlesbrough in 04-05. Tony Aboa leads against Liverpool. That was a belter, but he scores an even better one. The following week away at, I might be Wimbledon or Palace. It's definitely Selhurst Park, where he just takes her on his thigh, drops, and he fucking
Salah's is up there.
Salah's against City is up there, and it is Papa Cisse, Newcastle, Chelsea. What's the one for you? Can I go first, actually, Phil? The best goal I've seen in the Premier League is Luis Suarez's third against Norwich when he scores 4, where he takes it and flicks it over Leroy Fair, lets it drop and smashes it on the half volley. I like an arrow into the corner.
I don't even think that's his best goal in that game. I think the other one is even better.
No, there's one where it drops and from about 40.
That's the most ridiculous. Like, the fucking force goal he scores in that game is ridiculous as well. The ball bouncing from the corner and the volley.
Yeah, and then one drops and he smashes a big looping shot into the corner. But the third one, where he takes it down and then he goes
flicks it over
Leroy Fair. He goes by someone, flicks over Leroy Fair, and then waits for it to drop. And as he's falling backwards, he smashes on the half volley into the corner. It's a fucking outrageous goal. I think it's one of the best goals I've ever seen. But I'll probably think of more in a minute. But Phil,
well, Suarez was definitely in my Suarez is in a category in his own. We should have had the best goal that wasn't the Suarez goal, and then the best goal, right? But the one that he's the half volley from the halfway line is outrageous. Against Norwich, and they're all against Norwich. But
the one against Norwich where he's played out and he just smashes it. Yeah, brilliant.
I'll just score from it. I can't be arsed running now on this one. I'll just score from the half. But it bounces. All the other ones, whenever you see one score from the halfway line, when you think of Beckham and you think of Alonso, the ball is at their feet and they're moving along with it, right? So they're able to get themselves nicely. It's just bouncing, goes, whack, bang, goal. Yeah, that's me done.
There's loads coming in here now.
Rooney's against Newcastle is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and he's round with the ref. He's round with the ref.
He's the head off Graham Powell, and he just turned that bastard's this thing in the top corner, and then turns around and keeps giving out to him.
Matt Taylor for Portsmouth had some good ones, that's right. Matt Letizia had a collection of winners, he did. He scores a great one at Blackburn, where he goes one way, goes to and then smashes it, and then he scores a brilliant one against Newcastle at the Dell, where he flicks her over 2 players and places.
No one is mentioned. It's very hard for the technique alone. Bergkamp's against Newcastle is outrageous.
I don't think he means it.
No, he definitely does. If it was anyone else, Gav, I'd agree with you. But Bergkamp,
I think his one away at Leicester is better, where he comes over the shoulder, he takes it down in midair, flicks her over the defender twice, and then puts her in the net. I think it's
doesn't he do the same thing in the Euros?
World Cup.
Yeah.
World Cup.
In the World Cup, he does the same.
98 against Argentina.
But that ability to and everyone knows you try it, right, but to pull it off as the ball comes into you and you've got the Newcastle defenders around you, and just to turn Alberto, it's outrageous, and it's very hard not to. Whenever you think of those iconic goals, it's up there. It's like people put the Yeboah one in there because everyone just puts all Yeboah does is hit it really, 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 really angrily and really, 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 really hard, right? There was a 50-50 chance that thing goes over the stadium, but instead of this time, he just catches it perfectly and it goes in under the bar against David James, as we were talking about earlier on, right? But it was fairly straight down the middle. Now, it was all the power that beats them. But you can think of loads of really powerful goals. When I tell you really, there's loads of really, really powerful shots we're talking about. But to that point, Like, I think is some of the most graceful goals. Like, do you know one of my favourite goals? Again, it goes back to Suarez, but it wasn't Suarez who scores it. It's Cow. When we played United at home in Anfield, and Suarez bet 100 of the United players
Yeah.
10 times over, right?
Yeah. I was thinking about that today. I think that could go down as a fucking really good one. I want to give Suarez one I mentioned before I forget. The one where he takes the ball from Enrique, or the long ball against Newcastle, takes her on the chest, lets it fall
On
and
the
goes
chest.
around the keeper.
Just runs the ball.
Suarez is fucked off now to Uruguay or wherever he is. He deserves his own show.
Yeah, we can do his own show, yeah.
Because we just like
Liverpool aren't playing for about 8 weeks now, so
we're waxing lyrical about him here. But you know what is not actually talked about Luis Suarez enough? The year he leaves Liverpool, signs for Barcelona, he scores more goals than Messi and Ronaldo in all comps and wins a treble for Barcelona.
Yeah, no,
he's the best number 9 since R9. Stick your Benzema's and your Lewandowski's up your Swiss roll. The fella was out of this fucking world. Remember the goal he scores in the Champions League against PSG for absolutely no reason. He's 1-on-1 and he wraps it in the top corner.
Yeah, that's when he megs David Luiz.
He nutmegs David Luiz and then just says, "Do you know what? Fuck you. Full power, all one in circle in the top corner." But he scored a hat-trick in that game as well.
Albert, Chip and Schmeichel.
That was immense. But come here, somebody's had to put in Rob Ayres for Newcastle. Do you remember the one that came across and he flicks it from behind? He does like a Higuita scorpion kick into the goal. That was outrageous.
Eric Edmonds' goal at Anfield for Spurs. Brian Murphy says, if you can if you've never seen this goal, look at it. The whole of Anfield is applauding it. That's how fucking good. He fucking smashes this thing in.
Rooney's overhead is pretty good as well.
Yeah, even though it was a shilling.
Very
I'll tell you one that's going to break your heart, but you have to apply context to goals. Companies.
Yeah, Companies is good. Yeah, Companies is good. One of the best ones is Jaman off Fulham. And if I can't remember his name, but it's away at Palace, and it's literally a ball from the back. He makes a run from midfield. Kasami, and he gets played down the channel, and he just fucking. I don't even know if he.
Van Persie scores one away
and smashes it in the far corner.
Van Persie scores one at the Valley against Charlton, where
lamps it. He's up in the air.
Yeah.
That was good.
Remember Van Persie scored a header from about 25 yards as well.
Suarez done that as well.
No, didn't Suarez hit the post?
No, Suarez scores against West Brom from outside the box.
Alice Sissoko bleeding, fizzed across the 18-yard box and Suarez.
No, Ali Sissoko gets played in the left-hand side, and when he kicks it, he gets taken out of it. But he ends up just lamping this thing across the 18-yard line, and Suarez just comes on and goes bang and heads it into the top corner.
Suarez, for anyone that's old enough, Suarez looked like one of the players. There's a shout. Sensible world of soccer.
There's a shout. Kincladze scores one from Man City. It's that main
he runs
road.
Around everyone.
Or he just fucking starts jinking past everyone.
That one, remember, it's a bit of an obscure one. Johan Elmander against Wolves, remember?
Yes.
He turns in the box.
Yeah.
Nutmegs one, does a flip flap, and then just passes into the corner.
Yeah.
Perez's lob over. He scored some unbelievable goals, to be fair.
Perez's lob over Schmeichel at Villa was a great team goal, says Brian Murphy. David Luiz against Fulham for Chelsea. He smashed it in around 40 yards.
We're going to do moments, but I had Becker's down for moments.
Oh yeah, we'll get on to moments now in a minute.
Do you know?
If you have any more goals, throw them in, and I'll read them out as quickly as I can.
Zola's flying backheel volley spinning kick into the roof of the net on the near post.
Against Norwich.
That was ridiculous.
Remember Henry's one against Charlton?
Yeah, where he's back to goal and he backheels it in. Yeah,
he's back to goal and the defender's trying to push him out.
Nowhere to go and he just backheels.
He nutmegs a man with a backheel.
Scholes volley from a corner against Villa, that was brilliant off the underside of the bar.
Henry's against those where he fucking sends Carragher to the shadow realm. He down. I don't think he'll ever recover from that.
Yeah.
Mane's backheel volley into the ground over the goalkeeper against West Brom. Watford or whatever it was. They're all the same.
Yeah. Henderson's goal against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. The year they won the league under
Marion Pahar's goal for Southampton against Manchester United. Do you remember that one?
No.
Wait, who the Berger
nutmegs.
gets a cracker away at Middlesbrough, is it?
Charlton.
No.
Charlton.
Berger gets a
takes the
belter
net
away
and
at...
everything off him.
No, Berger gets a belter away with Liverpool at Derby in 2001, I want to say. And Liverpool have about 60 passes. And it's a dummy... it's a dummy by somebody into Berger, and he just smashed it into about 25 yards.
I'm only remembering Owen News one because of the fucking dissection we had on the podcast one night about it. Remember Emre Can done a top spin shoot.
When he applied spin to an overhead kick. Ginola for Spurs, can't remember who it was against. I think it's against Barnsley, and I think it might be a cup game. Troublemaker. It's the one where he's on the left wing and he jinks by a loads of them and scores. It's a fucking great goal.
Quates, that was a banger.
Quates against his QPR. Mane against Arsenal at the Emirates, first game of the season, was good. Shearer's volley. That's against Everton. Son's goal against Burnley. That's right. He fucking runs the length.
One that's forgotten. Then was Salah's, the one he scores late against Spurs to put us 2-1 up.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Great goal.
He's just...
But we don't win the match. That's the difference there, isn't it? If that should have been the winner.
Yeah.
And they go down and give away that ropey penalty. Yeah.
Matt
Le Tissier doesn't appear in our list, which is bizarre because Matt Le Tissier scored about a billion bangers.
Matt Le Tissier's best goal is against Newcastle in about 94, probably a bit before that actually. And it's at the Dale. He comes onto this ball. He goes by somebody. He flicks her over one fella. He flicks her over another fella. And then as it drops, as it drops to the ground, he just side foots it into the corner. Check it out. Just YouTube.
It's outrageous.
Oh, no,
Le Tissier versus Newcastle at the Dale.
He was from Costa Rica. Paolo Wanchop for Derby.
Paolo
United.
Yeah. That was some goal.
Yeah.
Paolo Wanchop.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what he was. Faustino Esprilla, you could have a whole podcast on him as well.
Yes.
Between dressing up as dinosaurs and everything.
And supplying condoms to people during COVID.
Yeah, what a man. What a hero. And scored some great goals.
If we can get Seany and Phil back next week at some stage, and Keith, because Keith will go fucking mad if we do a show about Luis Suarez.
I listened to a podcast. Esprilla was completely bonkers.
Mental.
Absolutely bonkers.
Wasn't there something to do with Esprilla where he fucking...
on a horse and everything.
But did he not put someone on the back of a horse to make it look like a unicorn for his daughter or something?
Yeah, but Esprilla...
Or was that Pablo Escobar? I'm not too fucking sure.
Esprilla went around handing out tapes to all the lads and bleeding Newcastle, saying it was him and his honeymoon, and he ended up plugging her in, and it was just him bleeding plugging his missus out for an hour and a half or something. But yeah, it was even all on the Under the Cosh podcast, and they were all like, Stina, what the fuck you doing? He was like, just thought it was normal, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yes, the Wonky Donkey. That's a great show. Before we get on to moments, and it's one that I remembered. Dalian Atkinson for Villa ran the length of the field versus the Manx. It wasn't. It was at Selhurst Park against Wimbledon, and I think he chips Hans Sagers, which isn't hard. I'm taller than fucking Hans Sagers, but Dalian Atkinson does get it. Goes past 2 or 3, and then he just he's about 25 yards out, and he just hits this chip that bounces before the fucking goal. It's the keeper's that far out, but that's a great show. The chips are great ones because do you know who's the master of the chip in most recent years? Was Sturridge used to score outrageous chips for the 3 games he played this season. He always had. Yeah, the Chelsea one will always stick out in my memory. That one that he just comes over and just clips it, and it just dinks into the side netting. Beautiful. We're going to go on to moments now because we're gone past the hour and we should be gone. But Dimitri Payet defying physicals with a free kick. He scores a free kick for West Ham. He scores a free kick for West Ham against, I think it might be opening day of the season, very close to start of the season. I can't remember who it's against now. And he hits this free kick, and I swear to God, I had to watch it about 10 times to actually work out what happened to the ball. Somebody will tell me who that free kick was against. But Dimitri Payet's free kick at West Ham that day. No deflection on it, no nothing. I've never ever seen a ball move like that. Right, we
never mentioned any Borough goals.
No, because listen, Terry Venables, Brian Robson, you know the score. If you don't, go and check it out.
But can I just mention one last goal because it's been mentioned a couple of times. But Alisson's header, that goal alone.
Oh no, that's the moment
in the Champions League.
That's the moment.
But that's also should be in the greatest goals because it's ridiculous.
That's a serious segue.
Yeah, it is a serious segue.
In the black kit.
Well, someone's gonna go for the Alisson goal, but the maddest moment for me in the Premier League is when your man, what's his name? He was Newcastle manager, Alan Pardew,
Alan
just
Pardew,
loafs your man on the side
David
of the
Moylan.
pitch. That is the maddest moment in the Premier League. Like, you'll have the Canio pushing the ref along, but for a manager just go in and stitch a fucking player a loaf on the side of the pitch is fucking mad. Shawnee, moments, it can be good, bad, mental. Go, and I'll try to read out as many as I can in the next 5 minutes.
Moment for me is, it's an easy one because, again, you apply context to these things, and just kind of what was an absolute fucking bastard of a season to endure for many reasons, and obviously his personal loss and the interview after the celebration, Alisson's header against West Brom, for me, is my favourite Premier League memory of all time. And I can't see it being beaten because, again, it's about what the goals mean to you at the time. And I remember, I'll have to put my hand up and admit, I didn't actually get to see the game live because I was away in Spain at the time. And I was in a location where I'd absolutely fucking shy coverage on my phone. And I had flash score on. And it flashed up that we went 1-0 down to Robson Canio. I was saying, oh, for fuck's sake, not this shite again. I didn't know what I was saying. And I didn't get a notification to say that we'd equalised. So I said, I made in my head, I'm not fucking checking that. I'm not checking that. I don't give a bollocks. So we are heading back to the car, and I said, I think the time might be just about up in that match. And I went into the our WhatsApp group, and all I seen was Ray Brady just, it was like the Matrix. There was just letters just appearing on my screen because he was actually typing when I went in, all right? And my phone was just like that with blah, 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 like just letters, numbers, everything coming up. And Shane Davern just went, oh my fucking God. And I can't tell you what Andy Young put in, but I think you know.
Yeah.
What he puts in, he says four letters, but we'll save that for another day. So I fucking checked flash score ping, and it says 2-1 Liverpool. Alisson, I goes, that must be fucking glitched or something. That must be glitched. And I checked back and I seen it. And I haven't even talked about the goal yet. The header is outrageous. It's out. If Haaland is doing it, that waxing lyrical about it. If Nunes does it, that waxing lyrical about it. The celebration, all the boys, what it meant, the timing of it. I think the fact that there was no fans in the stadium made it even better because you could hear all the lads on the bench absolutely losing it. All the Liverpool lads on the bench.
And Klopp, of course, didn't know that was happening. It was Alisson that wanted to go up, and the goalkeeping coach said go.
Send them up. Yeah. It's and look, Alisson had gone through fucking. It was a horrible year for us. We had endured so much between Van Dijk's injury and just the overall injury crisis. And then, of course, Alisson so tragically loses his father during the season. And then the post-match interview, the humility of him, just, I don't think there was a dry eye. I actually remember United fans and all reposting it going, fuck me, like, I hate them. And as spawny as they are, a goalkeeper getting a 90-minute winner, you can't help but to be happy for the fella. It was absolutely magic. And it proved to be huge because, let's be honest, if he doesn't get that, we don't qualify for the Champions League. It was absolutely... It'll never be top for me.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Phil, your maddest moment?
I don't know where to start. Like, obviously going to finish with Terry Venables and Brian Robson.
Yeah.
At Middlesbrough, right?
Yeah.
So, like, let's be straight with that. We'll come back to that at the end because, like, no matter what way you go, no matter what you
we
think
talk
of,
about this all the time. On air and
that's
off air, and we still talk about it because we just end up laughing at the whole
George Weah's cousin getting a run.
Ali Dia, yeah. Like,
I have a few here ready for you. Yeah, go on.
Ali Dia getting Graham Souness buying into the fact that a fella sent a letter in to say, I'm Georgie Weah's cousin and can I come and play for you? And he's thinking, yeah, that's a good idea. That seems genuine enough.
Darren
just shows
Dunbar
how simple football was.
As well.
and he goes in there and he comes on, and if everyone remembers the first 2 minutes, he looks a player, and then after the 2 minutes, you know that buzz that you get when you come onto the pitch and you take a touch and you beat someone and like, oh, that he looks decent enough. Doesn't last more than 2 minutes after that. Has no idea where to go, whatever, and soon gets up. Right, best moments when we come back to it. Right, so for me, like some of the standout ones, Delia Smith being locked on the pitch. Let's be having you.
That was great. That was great.
A message for the best football supporters in the world.
That
Let's be having you.
Yeah,
that was fantastic.
That was great.
That's still bizarre. You have.
Remember Shearer kicked Neil Lennon, just fucking upended him while Neil Lennon was lying on the ground. Yeah, that was mad.
Yeah, Boyer and Dwyer.
Boyer and Dwyer going to dig the head off each other.
Yeah.
On the pitch in their own team. I remember the BBC were doing their final score that day, and they were sort of going over to the match.
Do you remember the next day where
was going on?
They made them stand outside St. James's the next day on the steps, shaking hands and saying sorry. Unbelievable.
There was
Suarez's celebration in front of Moyes after Moyes had called him a diver, and then he scored and dived in front of him. Aguero's moment, 2012.
That's mad as well.
Yeah, I like the crazy stuff.
Keegan's breakdown.
The goal stuff.
Keegan's breakdown.
I would love it if we beat them. Yeah, that was.
I would love
mental.
it. That was the
I
moment.
remember when Adam ran the length of the pitch to celebrate in front of the Arsenal fans.
And do you remember the other one when was it United and Arsenal at Old Trafford? Pizzagate, and Fabregas is smacking Ferguson around the gap with a slice of pepper only pizza. Fucking mad stuff that was. What else we got? Tomori Katsbaya kicking the Hardens and taking his clothes off after scoring for Newcastle. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he broke his foot while doing it. Mikael Beck missing a chance after chance for Borough on the last game of the season when they got relegated, and Janino smashing a ball at him for missing the chances.
That wasn't good because do you remember Ravanelli wasn't happy that he wasn't playing in those games. He was seriously pissed off. There was more in the camp. Do you remember that guy we went through the Middlesbrough season and times go to the FA Cup?
Yeah.
He wasn't happy one bit about that. Like the Sergio Aguero moment stands out in terms of that was the arrival of the Manchester City sports washing project. Like that at the time we were all delighted because United didn't win the league, but had we knew, well, we did know. Let's anyone that didn't know what was going to happen, but like, that is the moment that City and all the billions that have been pushed into them have finally achieved what they want to achieve. Now I know they haven't won the Champions League, but the way they win it is to this day the fact that Michael Owen is celebrating and is going over to the trophy and everything in the tunnel. Do you remember at Sunderland? And he's like getting all excited to pick up his medal and get the thing. Yeah. And the next minute, Aguero scored. Like it must have been the 95th minute or something of the game when Aguero scores. It was the last time Martin Tyler was actually happy.
Yeah, Laszlo says Keegan going out on the steps at St. James's Park to explain the sale of Andy Cole to Manchester United. Fucking mad. Remember when that board and a flying board, I must say, decided to shit in Ashley Young's mouth? Yeah, remember that? Everyone remembers that. Suarez chewing on Ivanovic. Yeah, that happened as well.
Can I give one that's probably, it's not even a moment, but it's a thing. So fantasy football that used to be on BBC Two with your man that the 3 lines on our chest lads.
Padilla and Skinner.
Yeah.
Was it on BBC? I always thought it was a Channel 4 job. That
was Premier League back. That was the late 90s Premier League. That was amazing. Do you remember they had the Jason Lee? He's got a pineapple on his head. Like you couldn't do that anymore, right? Do you know what I mean? It was, and they had the stuff.
Pele was shy. He was superstar Jason Lee.
Yeah.
He's actually like done a write up in the last couple of weeks about that. About how like he feels bad on
that really
Jason Lee. Like, yeah. Do you know what was great? Do you remember when Arsenal were getting the clock end or whatever the fuck end it was, the North Bank done, and they just put up a big mural of
fake
people? Do you remember that? It was like a big, massive fucking like.
And they pumped in sound
plywood, right? And they just made it like 20-foot tall, the width of the stadium, and then they just got kids to paint like little people on it, so it looked like there was loads of people in the stadium.
Remember the Kanye done that to the ref and he blade fell on it. Was it
Winterborn? No, Winterborn. Yeah.
He fucking, what happened there? He got sent off, didn't he? And with
Oh,
the
hold
one
on,
goes
Andy
over,
O'Shea.
give him the big one.
Andy O'Shea.
Andy O'Shea, that's a fair
Yeah.
show. That's
Actually,
a fair
hold
show.
on, lads. He says, I
That
just
was an
remember that
Everton fan,
fella who
wasn't he?
tied himself to the goalpost last season. Yeah, he was,
Do you remember the
he was
Everton
at the
fan?
Everton game. He was going on about the price of diesel
Yeah.
or something. I don't know what the fuck he was going on about. But yeah, like
United's changing their kit at half time because they couldn't see each other.
that's right. In a 6-3 or a fucking mad defeat.
Trouncing by Southampton.
Where Parhars was probably involved. You mentioned him earlier. But there was just
Two
like,
Liverpool ones, lads. It's like you can't get away from maddest moments in the Premier League if you don't talk about Suarez. He bit Ivanovic, right?
yeah.
And we have the whole everything as
And then
well,
scores the
right?
equaliser.
Like it's got, yeah, but then you've got the whole everything as well, which led to, let's be honest about this, the lads wearing the support Suarez t-shirts onto the pitch before the Wigan game, right?
Yeah.
And then it wasn't racist, but once you put the "but" in, you've lost the argument.
Yeah. But
Right,
but the thing was, like, the other one as well, Liverpool. Do you remember Grobbelaar and McManaman punching the head off each other at Goodison?
Yeah. And
Derby
Grobbelaar was
in
a favourite
95.
because he punched the head off Jim Beglin in the 85-86 FA Cup final as well.
Yeah. He's just going around slapping the head off people. Grobbelaar was, and he was the root of the problems. Like, just stupid stuff going on. I think Duncan.
Yeah, and
Ferguson
then the
might have
dive.
scored that day.
Like Suarez again has a highlight reel here because he does the dive in front of Moyes after Moyes had spent the whole week talking about Suarez diving in the pre-match build-up.
Yeah.
He bites Ivanovic. You've got all the goals. You've got so much that's going on. But I hate to say it, there's two more Liverpool moments. There's the beach ball incident, which is that goal against Reina. Like we've never seen that before, and we've never seen it again.
Yeah.
Right, and it's ridiculous. And then, lads, let's be honest about it. The Steven Gerrard slip. The fact that you have him the week before, we don't let it slip, right?
Yeah, you couldn't have wrote it.
And that match, you can't, like, you literally can't write it. Do you know what I mean? It's.
That was mad.
But
as
it is
well,
one of those moments.
That was mad as well. Bonker says it. There's a chicken on the pitch at Ewo Park. Do you remember when those Venky's boys turned up?
The Venky boys.
And they were like, we're going to sign Ronaldinho. And then they hadn't got a fucking washer. Do you know what I mean? And they're going around. But they were bleeding mad as well, the Venky lads.
Kane down Haaland.
Oh, yeah, that was mental. Yeah.
Oh.
I still think Pardew headbutting Dave Moyler is still the maddest thing. Like, I know Cantona jumps over and kicks your man. Do you know what I mean? And the maddest thing to come out of the Cantona thing is that as Bam was up, right, and they moved the Liverpool game one day later, so it was back, so he could get away from his Bam.
So his Bam was up.
That's what they done that time in '94. Fowler scores twice that day.
But still, Brian Robson was the manager of Middlesbrough. And
It's actually, you know what? The rest need to go away because when Brian Robson is the manager of Middlesbrough, right? And Terry Venables turns up and he go, what's he doing
turns
here?
up on the bench.
And he's on the bench in that big long black jacket. Do you remember the big hairy jacket he had on him, right? And they're like, what's Terry doing here? And he's like, he's just come in to say hello. He's here ages now. Yeah, I know, he's just here for a while. And then Brian Robson's standing on the sideline saying nothing, while Venables is standing beside him telling all the players what to do, and they still deny that Terry Venables is actually the manager of Middlesbrough, and it just goes on and on for ages. Do you know what was a great moment? Actually, I'm thinking of it now. George Graham, of course, most famous for managing Arsenal. He's at Leeds. He ends up going to Spurs. He leaves Leeds and goes to Spurs, and Spurs are playing Arsenal, and at Tottenham's ground, and the ball breaks out and it goes over the line, and he picks it up and gives it to the Arsenal player because the Arsenal player is looking to take a quick throw, and he's the manager of Spurs, and all the Spurs fans are going mad, going, what's this prick doing? Arsenal on the break here, and our manager is getting the ball back.
He's giving them the ball.
Yeah.
Who did Barthez do the offside thing against? Remember?
The Canio in the cup.
Oh, the Canio in the cup. Yeah, he just stood there and put the hand up and pretended he was offside.
I think they battered West Ham a couple of weeks beforehand at Old Trafford in the league, and then West Ham go there in the cup, and your man is playing for them. What was your man? Konate, was it? He ended up at Sevilla, I think. Canute, yeah, he was with Spurs.
Frederick Canute.
He's playing with them as well, but he gets put through the Canio. He's onside, and Barthez, he's just stand there for ages, and Canio slots up by him.
Christian Gross arriving at Tottenham Hotspur and showing his tube ticket to everyone. To show that he was a man of the people.
Because he
was.
Yeah. He gets the Spurs job, Christian Gross, and instead of like to show he's a man of the people, he comes in and shows his train ticket. He says, "I got the train to work," and everyone's like, "Yeah." There's millions of us do that. You know what I mean? Owen Burke says the Venkies bought Blackburn thinking there was no relegation. Laszlo says the Canio catching the ball. Yeah, that's when Gerrard, the goalkeeper, goes down at Everton, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ron Atkinson sitting in the wrong dugout at the City ground in his first game. I remember that. Brian Clough punching the fans when they come on the pitch at the City ground. I remember that. That's a great one. That's a great one. Hazard kicking the ball boy at Swansea. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
The ball boy hanging on. He just gets him on the ground and starts booting him in the ribs.
It's a bit more.
He's a millionaire now.
The ball boy.
The ball boy, yeah, he's a millionaire.
Off that.
Boy, did he steal?
No, off whatever he's done since. Genuinely, there was a news story there recently where they showed, like, look what happened. Yeah, real bad crashing into the post. Do you remember that one?
Kazaragi's goal for Chelsea, yeah. Henri and Perez making the balls of the penalty between them. That was mental. Go on, Shawnee, what are you going to say?
Remember when Leicester won the league and Spurs just completely lose the plot and it just
at Chelsea.
Yeah, they just start booting themselves.
Yeah, there's mayhem. Mayhem. Yeah, that was mad. They're just fucking kicking each other, and that was good. That was.
No, but I still think Adebayor all running the length of the pitch to celebrate in front of the Arsenal fans was fucking brilliant.
Yeah, they lost the plot that day, didn't they?
He absolutely got locked up for inciting a riot.
Yeah. Kieran Thorne says the ball boy is now worth 40 million, making his own vodka. There you go.
Yeah.
Gerrard lasting 10 seconds against United was a mad one when he came on and got sent off for standing on Ander Herrera. Yeah, that was a mad one as well. Oh, Mick McCarthy getting spooked by nobody. That's an amazing video. Ever seen that?
Yeah, I've seen
Mick McCarthy coming out of the tunnel. Have you never seen that? Mick McCarthy walks out of the tunnel. And I think it's away at Blackburn or something. He might be at home, I don't know. But he walks out and he just walks up the thing. And you know the way both sets of staff are kind of shaking each other's hands. And he's standing there next to him. He just goes... Just jumps back for no reason. There's nobody near him. And he just fucking... Check it out. Type in into YouTube, Mick McCarthy spooked. And you'll see it. The floodlight failure during the betting scams. Or over the betting scams. Do you remember them? When they kept all the betting from the Middle East or whatever the fuck it was. Or Asia. Yeah. And the floodlights kept going off in games. So there was this thing where floodlights were going off in games. But there was a big syndicate betting on these things to happen. And
what?
Yeah. It happened at I want to say Selhurst Park, definitely.
I've vague recollections about this.
It's going back to... It's not the 90s, I want to say.
It might be the early 90s. Yeah.
Somewhere around there. I'm sure if you look up betting scam floodlight failure, you'll find it. Mike Phelan and Ferg to get the balloon.
He wants to be a millionaire. Remember when
they're all coughing.
Yeah.
But there's some fucking mad ones. But I enjoyed
late 90s.
I enjoyed that now because there's loads of good memories. But we're gonna try to do a Luis Suarez show because Shawnee wants to do one. Phil definitely does. I'll do one, and Keith will, Keith, he wear all the jerseys he has from South America. Every jersey.
Does Keith have all of Robbie Keane's jerseys? That's what I want to know.
No, Keith is a South American man.
All right,
South American man.
He only has Roberto Quino's jerseys.
No, he got Shawnee a jersey for his birthday, and lovely looking jersey, got from Classic Football Shorts, and then told him the history of it, and I think the club was founded by some fella from Pearse Street. There you go. That's the jersey he got him.
Who's it, Penarol?
South America.
Is it?
No, look at it. It's like a Steve Brown opened up a bleeding some Spanish shop, which you probably tell you he has.
Move it over to your right a bit. Now, Almirante Brown.
And it was set up by some Irish fella. Keith tell me a whole story about it.
Yeah, and the Wolf Towns do a song on it.
Yeah.
But to be fair, we have a long history of South American actions. We set up the Uruguayan Navy. So that's...
Sorry. Laszlo says... Roy Hodgson's feud with Harry the Hornet and then taken over at Watford.
Roy Hodgson, that's a podcast in itself as well. There's so many moments.
Jason punching,
Hodgson.
going for the shit mid-game. Is this Brian Murphy? Selhurst Park getting a few mentions. Yeah, loads happened to Selhurst Park. Loads and loads of stuff happened there. But look, we better go. It's nearly 11:30. That has been the Man on Football show, or Football in the World, whatever you want to call it. It's been about the greatest moments and bits and pieces in the Premier League, because Liverpool aren't playing for I don't know how fucking long now. So we're going to do quizzes, and we're going to do drafts, and we're going to do special one-off shows on players or whatever that you want. If you want to suggest it to us, get on to us. There's a link in the description now for our Linktree account, which means that you can find everything belonging to us in one place, so you can go and do that there. Bobby's Wish to Walk, if you can donate to that, the link is in the description for that as well. And look, if you can donate, great. If you can't, share and all that stuff. You've been on to us for ages about watch-alongs and stuff like that. We've set something up as well, where we're watching different sports over the weekend. You can come along and join us. Knock on your IPTV or your TV if you have the game. Mute the TV. You can then click a link to join us where we talk in your ear. You can chat to us via text as well and watch the game. But that's all coming up in the next couple of days. Loads. We're watching loads of stuff over the weekend, from golf to NFL, football, loads of stuff. So anything else before we go, Phil? No, you're good. All right.
I'm good.
Good stuff.
I'm just looking up at William Brown. That's the guy that Shawnee has there. Yeah.
There you go. Shawnee, anything else before we go?
No, I'll go. Enjoyed that.
Happy days. Oh, so did I. So we try to do more of this stuff over the next while Liverpool aren't playing, to keep you all entertained. That has been it. Talk to you in a bit. Over now.